All right. Happy Thursday, everyone. So, what are we going to start with? There's a ton of things to go over. LeBron James' potential retirement and what I feel to be severely unrealistic expectations on him. The Celtics have pushed the Heat to Game 5, which happens in a couple of minutes here. What's next for the Lakers? And with what we've just seen from the Nuggets and what we've seen from them the last few years, what are they? This, to me, looks like the start of a dynasty, but we'll get into it. So let's start off with the Celtics and Heat, Game 4 into Game 5. Game 4, Celtics came out on fire. They came out like a team that has been drubbed by the media all day long, which they were. They quit, straight up quit in Game 3. They got dominated in everything that they needed to do, and they looked horrible because of it. And in turn, they came out and they answered. They had a really big response. Now, coming back from 3-0 has never been done. Everybody who's been down 3-0 right now are cumulatively 0 for 150. This being the 151st chance. I think like 6 teams have come back from 3-1 to push it to 7. My Portland Trailblazers did it in 2006 against the Mavericks, or 2003 rather, against the Mavericks. An exciting time for me as a Blazer fan, but we couldn't overcome the deficit. Can these Celtics do it? I think talent-wise, they can. They have a very dynamic roster. Will they do it against this Miami Heat team? I don't think so. I think the Heat take this series in 6, but that means the Celtics win tonight in Game 5, right? So, what happened in Game 4? How did they win? They actually ran an effing offense. They actually took the chance and made plays happen where they, Golden State Warriors complete motion action. No, it was simple. Screen and roll, slip cuts, isolate Jason Tatum in the corner, and actually create space by overloading one side and letting him create on the other. That worked wonders. It did a lot of work for them. And they were able to play some pretty aggressive and hard-nosed defense. So I want to give them some credit. I know I've been kind of crapping down Joe Mazzulla's throat, but that was, a decent adjustment. We actually saw some levels of coaching. Tatum was huge in Game 4. 33 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, still 5 turnovers, but making your shots, grabbing rebounds, all of that helps. A dominant third quarter really assisted in that victory. The Heat struggled shooting from 3 is another thing. How many times are they going to miss that many shots, right? Granted, I will hear the other side of that too. Are they going to shoot 53% from 3 every game? No. But 25% is a little aggressive on the other side of that. Even so, that's not even the worst part for the Heat. Gabe Vincent went down with an ankle injury. Going for a second jump, didn't see where his feet were. Ankle buckled underneath him, and now he's actually out for Game 5. On the other side of things, we actually just found out Malcolm Brogdon is playing with a partially torn tendon in his elbow, which his right shooting elbow... Sorry, I'm still a little under the weather, is playing with a partially torn tendon in his right elbow, which could explain why he's not shooting particularly well. He's shooting 35% from the field in this series, 21% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line, which to me is the most jarring part of it. Who's out for Game 5? What is his name? I just said it. Gabe Vincent is out for Game 5. But yeah, so Brogdon shooting 35, 21, 78 splits in this series, which is not like him. He's usually a pretty good shooter. For the series against Philly, he was shooting 52 field, 44 3, and 90 free. So 50, 40, 90, which is more on par for what he does 48, 44, 87 regular season. So the shooting thing actually makes a little more sense. I do think Boston comes out tonight and they win. I don't think it's going to be a drubbing. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think they find a way to take a dub here, which is a far cry from where we were in Game 3, where they could barely be on the same court as the Miami Heat. So, but it's emotional. When you put this much into a game, and they actually have been playing they played pretty well for Game 4. No Gabe Vincent is huge, especially without the depth of Tyler Hero or Victor Oladipo to give extra guard minutes. I think it's going to be a little too much for Miami to overcome. So yeah, give me the Celtics in Game 5 tonight. All right, so we just saw the Denver Nuggets complete the sweep over the Los Angeles Lakers. Super sad. We'll touch on the LeBron part of it later. But what's next for LA? They have an absolute ton of free agents this year. The only people still on contract for next year is Jared Vanderbilt with a team option. You have LeBron James with a 1 year, but he may be retiring. We don't know yet. And we have Anthony Davis locked in for another year. Everyone else has either options. Malik Beasley also, another team option that they could pick up, but they probably won't. $16 million is a little steep for a guy that wasn't playable in the postseason. We'll see what goes on there. Regardless, everybody else is off the books. You have restricted free agents in Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura, who became pivotal members of their roster. So what are they going to do? Other free agents, D'Angelo Russell, Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, Troy Brown Jr. There's a lot of people to lose. A lot of people on the docket here. But it gives you a lot of cap flexibility. And I know that their free agent list this season is not crazy. You know, you got guys like Chris Middleton, James Harden's on there, but we don't know what he is anymore. So who's really available? Fred VanVleet. That's the person that I'm looking at if I'm part of the Lakers. How much can you get him for? Is he going to sign for anything less than a max? I think he'll have to. We're looking at a contract. I would pay him around what Jalen Brunson gets paid. Is that fair? To me, yes. If someone's going to offer him a lot more, then, obviously he's probably going to take the extra money. But I think VanVleet fits this team really well. A solid offensive player, can be a great spot-up shooter, a dogged defender, someone that brings the hustle and energy and is going to play a lot of the season. I would give him for something like 3 years, $75 million. This cold has been kicking my butt, man. It sucks. I would take a flyer on Fred VanVleet. Nice little friendly 3 year 75, I think, is a solid one. The one thing the Lakers cannot afford to do, please don't get in the Kyrie Irving business. I understand he's trying to refute some of the rumors. He's trying to refute some of the analyst conversations. Don't do it. Kyrie Irving is not going to assist your team in any capacity at all. So, it's just not worth it. That's not worth it. The drama is going to be too big, and it's going to ruin your cap flexibility. You're going to have LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyrie Irving, and then nothing. Everything else is going to be veteran minimums, the mid-level exception, and a bunch of players that couldn't get paid elsewhere for a reason. And you're going to be stuck with it. And then you're going to be stuck in a situation that you were in when you traded everything for Russell Westbrook. Obviously, Kyrie Irving fits better because he's a shooter, he's an offensive initiator, and, all the things that he can do, at least on the offensive side of the court, to assist LeBron James, make sure he's not the one, taking dribble jump shots. And then you're going to have to overpay Austin Reeves with a matched contract, or Rui. It's actually not that bad if you have those five. Then you just have kind of trash stuff at the back. Even so, I'm not sold on it. I do believe the Lakers should retain Rui and Reeves. The most they can offer Reeves is 4 years, $51 million. That's the only contract they can give him, unless he signs a deal somewhere else. Then him being restricted, they will be able to match that second contract. I know that's a little confusing, but based on their cap situation, they're only allowed to offer 4 years, $51 million at most. But if somebody pays him, let's say 3 years, $60, the Lakers have the right to match if he signs that deal. Would he take a discount? I'm not sure. I would lean to him not taking a discount, only because we do know for a fact that he did say, I'm excited to see what my next contract's going to be. I didn't butchering it, paraphrasing, but essentially, I'm going to be looking for the biggest contract possible going into next year. Which, who can blame him? The guy balled out. He was killing in the Western Conference Finals. He dominated the season, basically. He was giving you what should essentially account to 50-40-90 splits, but it was actually closer to 50-50-90 with great offensive initiation. Solid. Then you have Rui Hachimura. What are you going to pay him? Became a really good pivotal player for them. Great defender. Was able to initiate some offense. Got really good on the jump shot. You should expect him to get better. But how much are you willing to dish out? I think the deal that Malik Beasley just had fits him pretty well. I would give him maybe 4 years, 65, maybe 3 years, 50. Being paid in that $15 to $18 million range, I feel like is fair. But people pay overtime. They overpay all the time, rather. And then the rest of the roster, you just fill out. You got players like Kevin Love that are going to be on the docket, Will Barton on the docket, Alec Burks, Dario Saric, Steph Curry. You know, you have the mid-level, the non-tax mid-level exception, which is about $12 million. They have the ability to use that. You put all that together, you could build out a pretty solid roster around LeBron James and Anthony Davis. As long as they don't do something stupid, like give out a dumb max contract to someone that doesn't deserve it, they should be flying pretty high going into the year. And with the Lakers, I actually wrote down my notes, old school. With the Lakers, LeBron James just finished year 20. Just finished year 20. In the regular season, he averaged 28.9 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 6.8 assists. That is a phenomenal year 20. In the playoffs, coming off of a foot injury that is more than likely going to require a surgery, he averaged 24.5 points, 9.9 rebounds, 6.5 assists, a steal, and a block a game, while playing insane amounts of minutes. Now, the only reason why I mention this is because the expectations on LeBron are ridiculous. Plantar fascia, year 20 and counting. So we don't know if it's counting still. We do know that he is contemplating his future, which I do believe he is, after how stressful the season was, everything going on between the Russell Westbrook drama, playing a long postseason, and then kind of realizing that he doesn't have it anymore. Like, not that he's not a great player. I still would say LeBron is probably like top 10, maybe at the bottom of that, pushing 8, 9, 10, you know, in that range. But he can't dominate a game like he used to. He can't go out there and give you everything, every bullet in his gun. Sorry, John Morant. He can't give you every clip, every bullet in the clip, and see how his team's going to succeed with it anymore, because that's just not the caliber of player that he is. This is the first time I've ever seen him get outplayed in a series my entire life. When he was, you know, at least playing the entire series. But even so, the expectation for him to just take over is ridiculous. He's 20 years in. 20 years in, Kobe was playing basically meaningless basketball, averaging 17 points a game. Michael Jordan didn't play 20 years, but when he was 38, which is the only thing I can compare it to, he was playing meaningless basketball on the Washington Wizards, not even making the playoffs, averaging 23, 5, and 5, which is really good numbers. Those are great numbers for a 38-year-old, especially one that was out gambling, smoking cigars, cigarettes, and throwing down, I don't even know what he was drinking, but, you know, to make it sound horrible, probably Old English, just going bananas on his own body. But torching LeBron for being old and hurt, it's kind of an indictment. At this point of his career, he's playing with house money. Anything he does is just a benefit. But if, you know, you can't expect incredible stuff, but it just goes to what we've grown accustomed to, how spoiled we've been as fans and haters alike to expect him to be perfect going into year 20. And he was great. It was just a matter of the roster was trash. They fixed it. And then he got hurt. And then he still played on what I believe, I know it's a mysterious foot injury, but what I believe to have been a torn or ruptured plantar fascia at the bottom of his foot. Even so, the expectation on LeBron James is completely out of this world when he's 20 years in. No one else in year 20 he has played more basketball than any player ever in terms of professional basketball. He has more minutes, more mileage than everybody ever, if you take playoff minutes and regular season minutes. It's insane. And people expect him to go out there and give you 2016, 2015 LeBron. Like, he's 38 now. We're already pretty far removed from all of that. Even so, he can still play incredible basketball. I would love to have seen what he did, what he would have done if he wasn't injured. Even so, we're not going to get that chance. It's just insane that people expect him to just, take over, dude. Well, you're LeBron James. Do your thing. Yeah, he's 38. Year 20. Over 60,000 minutes. He has more minutes played than Steph Curry and Damian Lillard combined. Steph Curry's 35 and Dame is 32. Yeah, that's realistic. It's just kind of disrespectful, right? It's just one of those things that we do to indict a player, to just diminish what he did, everything he's accomplished. It's, oh yeah, well, he got swept in the Western Conference Finals. Oh, at 38, he got swept in the Western Conference Finals when his team started the season 2-10. When the roster is basically brand new. These guys have been playing basketball together for 2.5 months. Yeah, he got swept in the conference finals. All right, cool. What was your Lord and Savior doing? right? At 38. Smoking Black and Milds, chilling in the locker room, yelling at Kwame Brown. So, yeah, just get off your high horse and let a player get old. You know, you're watching the end of one of the greatest players of all time. So just appreciate it. But now, why was this the end of one of the greatest players of all time? Right? Who did they run into? What did they run into? They ran into what I think is probably going to be the eventual champion, Denver Nuggets. This is a team that has built through the draft. They've built through continuity, exceptional work ethic, and pretty decent coaching. Not to mention the immense level of talent they have on their roster. I know that, no MVP this year. No first-team All-NBA players. All right, Nikola Jokic is a two-time MVP coming into the season. Nikola Jokic was a first-team All-NBA player last year. And I think the year before that as well. They literally changed how the voting was done for the All-NBA teams because of Nikola Jokic. And Jokic is an absolute animal. But what is this team becoming? I believe they're becoming a dynasty. I think we're looking at the makings of a dynasty. And hear me out. I know they haven't won anything yet. I think that we're only a couple of weeks away before we see them win something. But let's go over it. They have Nikola Jokic, who arguably right now is either the best to the third best player in the league. Right? I don't think there's any argument against that. You have Jokic, you have Giannis, you have Steph Curry, you have Kevin Durant, LeBron James, John Morant, Jimmy Butler. Jokic is probably the best player right now. You have Jamal Murray, who at this point, I think, is quickly rising the ranks of elite point guards in our game. You're looking at players like Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Trae Young, John Morant. You know, at that point, I would put Jamal Murray right up there with Curry and Lillard. I don't think with Ja, maybe I'll put him a step above Ja at this point, with everything we've seen in this postseason. And I know he missed the last 2 years, so this is just him getting back on track. He's not even at like peak form yet. This isn't even his final form. He hasn't even gone truly Super Saiyan yet. And he's an elite complementary point guard to fit perfectly with Nikola Jokic's game plan. You have Michael Porter Jr., a top-tier offensive sniper, I would say a little overpaid, with, lingering back issues, but still an elite offensive weapon with massive upside. He's a 6'8", 6'9" wing that has probably the smoothest, prettiest jump shot in the entire NBA. And he's locked in for a couple years. You have Aaron Gordon, do-it-all rotation wing. Oh, I got to guard the other team's best defensive player? Got it. Oh, cool. The Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic pick and roll didn't work because the third person got involved. I'm running to the rim. You need me to drill an open three? All right, I make him at 39%. Perfect player. A perfect complementary fourth best player on your team. And all of those guys are locked in through at least 2025. So that's this year, next year, the year after that. You got 3 years of these dudes. At least 2 more years after this season. KCP, the perfect 3-and-D wing as a fifth option. Insane. Guy is elite off the dribble. He can drill his three-point shots when he's open, and he plays really aggressive defense from 1 to 3. And then at least locked into next year, you have those 5 players. Michael Malone, phenomenal coach. Has been there for damn near a decade now. Has built this team and built the continuity in the roster and all the makeup, all the backbone this roster has, done through Michael Malone. Has done a solid job with the media, kept the chip on these guys' shoulders, kept them focused. This is their second Western Conference Finals in 3 years, and the second time they made the Western Conference Finals when their whole team was healthy. The only times they didn't, they had no Michael Porter Jr. and no Jamal Murray, or Jamal Murray got hurt right before the postseason started. So, credit to Michael Malone. And then all they have to do is continue getting solid role players. They picked up Bruce Brown in the offseason, and he's been pivotal. Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff, solid rotation players. And they have all of the makings of continued success. They built it organically. They have the players locked in for at least the near future. And as long as they're willing to dish out the money, I don't think this team is going anywhere. This is a very solid roster, very well constructed, and they're built from the top down. They have every position you need. Elite point guard, got it. Best center in the league, got it. perfect wing, or not a perfect wing, but a really good jump shooting, elite sniper, oversized wing that grabs boards too, got it. Do it all, dirty work, but also can make the shot, create off the dribble, and cut to the basket, got it. 3-and-D wing, got it. Like they have it. They have all the pieces you need, and they're in the right age range. All of them are in their mid to late 20s. It's just, it's the perfect storm for what looks like a budding dynasty. At this point, you're looking at LeBron's not getting any younger, 38. Anthony Davis is a really old 30. The Golden State Warriors, Curry's, they were actually healthy this year for the most part, except for the Andrew Wiggins, off the court situation. But they look like they're falling apart. Are they going to pay Draymond? They still haven't. So that dynasty might be over. Sacramento Kings look like a really tough contender out west. Denver Nuggets, what's going on with Ja? So the West might be running through Denver for the next few years. And then you still got to worry about what's happening with Phoenix. They just fired their coach. They still got to build out their roster. DeAndre Ayton's miserable. What's his trade value going to be when he's getting paid $35 million? Chris Paul's unplayable. Can't stay healthy. Like, it's and God knows what's happening with the Clippers. The Clippers haven't been good at all for the last 5 years. So it kind of looks like the Nuggets are going to dominate the West. And what's going on in the East? Celtics are blowing up. The Miami Heat are a really tough team, but talent for talent, they kind of give up a lot on that end of it. Hard work only gets you so far, especially when you're playing a talented team that also works hard. And I think it's going to go 6 if they play. It's going to be interesting, though. However, I do want to submit, Denver might be becoming a dynasty. We're watching it build, and I hope you understand. You heard it here first. Nikola Jokic is no joke. Michael Malone is a phenomenal coach. Jamal Murray is an elite point guard, one of the best in the business, and he perfect complementary piece alongside Jokic and everybody else. It's looking like we're gonna go there. But he's the Joker. I mean, the Joker killed millions of people, and there's no Batman in the NBA right now. So it's looking like Joker's going to keep running roughshod. I don't really have much else. Those are all of my notes. That's all of the information I have for you today. But I will say, I hope you enjoyed tonight's game. I think it's going to be awesome. I got the Celtics winning tonight and pushing a Game 6 back in Miami. So